So y'all, I don't even know. So we have gotten a lot of drama lately from the Drag Race community. And it is insane. So today I wanted to talk about the ongoing drama between Monet Exchange and the Vixen, plus some older drama of Tamisha Amman versus Monet versus Candy. So let's get into it. I'm also going to be sort of like theorizing who, when we might be seeing the new All-Stars promo, as well as some controversies surrounding Down Under. So first and foremost, as you can see, I am tired. I have done a lot of things that I am super stoked for, such as getting a new job, but my current job right now runs from 4 a.m. to whenever, so I usually have to get up at 3:30. So if I look exhausted, that's because I am exhausted. Second off is, I'm sorry that I have been away for a while. I haven't really had a good time to film. My brother came back. It's all been a hot mess. So, I wanted to cover the drama before it ended between Tamisha and Monet. However, I am sort of glad I didn't, because there were so many twists and turns. It was like an M. Night Shyamalan film. That being said, I think I might go turn off the fan here. So Monet has a podcast or a video thing. I don't know. It's a podcast with Bob the Drag Queen called Sibling Rivalry, or a show really called Sibling Rivalry, where Bob and Monet talk about Drag Race and basically are the off-brand fashion photo review. The reason I'm saying off-brand is because Yuhua has her own series, and a couple of other queens that I know also have their own series where they toot and boot the looks of queens. And during this, Monet has been seen booting the majority of Tamisha Amman's looks. Now, if I was a Drag Race queen, I would not be looking on anything other than the World of Wonder itself thing to try to really see what people think about me. Mostly because opinions really just don't matter. But Tamisha apparently watched a sibling rivalry and had a lot of negative things to say about Monet Exchange, about her critiquing Tamisha when she was the one that wore a dress full of sponges. This all came to a head when Tamisha went on live and said that she would expose Monet and read her to the ground. But she kind of did the opposite of that, and this had some positives and negatives to it. Instead of publicly denouncing Monet Exchange, she told people to subscribe to her now created website called the Tamisha Amman Network, which was sort of like a streaming service. But here's the thing. While I do still, even though some of these things that I might say will sound meh to Tamisha Amman, I still fully support her and I love all the work she is doing. The thing with streaming services is, with especially Paramount Plus that is just coming out, where All-Stars is going to be held, you have to have a variety. Tamisha Amman herself is not variety enough. You need to have other shows with other queens in them. And that being said, there is a lot of fans who after a while just get drag raced out. I, for one, love watching the show and talking about it, but when I talk about it too much or watch it too much or am in a fantasy world of Drag Race, like when I'm participating in fantasies online, like voting for who gets to go off, where there are a lot of like creative accounts that have that, as well as playing a video game with drag queens in them, like the All-Stars Simulator or a simulator on brandsteel.net where you can actually create things with drag queens in them, like Survivor. After a while, I just get bored and I move on to something else. So for somebody to pay a subscription price of $25.99 just to get drag queens, it really isn't worth it. And the same can be said about Paramount Plus. If I'm spending money for Paramount Plus, I am expecting it to be like, I'm expecting it to have a lot more shows than just Drag Race, or All Stars, because to me, All Stars should be on regular TV. Paramount Plus has All Stars on it, but I think that it should be, I don't think that All Stars 6 should have come out on that. Anyway, I digress. We'll talk more about All Stars 6 in a minute. Let's move on to what the fans had to say. They basically called Tamisha out for being, a coward, which Tamisha replied, I'm not a coward, but many African American queens stated that they were proud of Tamisha, not only because she didn't do what she said she was going to do, but also publicly said that she was not going to encourage black-on-black violence. So, this next sort of drama happened when Candy got wind of what Tamisha had been doing, and it was kind of like that in the shadows moment where, like, the Wicked Witch is staring at for the Wizard, the Dorothy and her friends as they're walking towards the Emerald City, and then she, like, flies over to the Emerald City to try to stop them. Candy was kind of looking at it through a crystal ball. Like, oh, this is what Tamisha is doing? Okay, let me comment, even though I have no place to comment. Even though I did fight Tamisha in Untucked, let me comment. Which I think is, like, a really weird thing, right? Other queens started commenting too. Joey J, Tina Burner. But here's the thing. Candy sort of has the right to comment because this is not only taking place in the drag community, but also in the African American community. So, Tina and Joey looking in on it through their little crystal balls is kind of like, no. You don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's like. Nobody knows what it's like, except for the community that they are a part of, to be black and American. And on top of that, be a drag queen and be gay. So, yes, as gay people, we have, experienced persecution for being gay, but there is a lot to be said of us white gays. We sort of have it good. We don't have to deal with any racial profiling from people. No profiles stating that they only want white people. I mean, we've catered to that. Being African American, you have to run into people who are racist and gay, which I don't know how you can be those two things and still call yourselves gay, but okay, whatever. I know that there are preferences amongst people. I'm open to almost literally everybody, within reason. We have to get to know each other first before we do anything, and even then I really haven't done anything with anybody, but if I were, I'm open to anybody, as long as their personality matches, their personality is compatible with mine. Having something on your profile like I only date white people is inherently racist, because it's like, yeah, that's just a preference. And nobody's faulting you for that. But, you know, it's still kind of racist. So, Tamisha invites Candy onto the Tamisha Amman network, and everybody is so thrilled to see this smackdown happen. And then things go awry. The Tamisha Amman network kind of falters a bit. Candy's stuck waiting. Tamisha's stuck waiting. Nobody really knows what's going on. And then, boom, it's back up. They talk for 40 minutes straight. And even though I didn't buy the Tamisha Amman network because I'm not insane and won't spend $25.99 on something, unless I know that I'm going to get more than just drag queens on it, I understand that conversation was very healing for both Candy and Tamisha, and I'm so happy to hear that they are on the path of not rekindling a friendship, but just mutual acceptance that they were on the same season of Drag Race and we respect each other. That same cannot be said for Monet and the Vixen. Apparently, this all started on May 1st. The Vixen kind of defended Tamisha for going against the system, and the Vixen has been very overly yet underly stated in how Drag Race treats its queens. Now, that shouldn't stop any aspiring drag queens to go on there. I've heard that other people have different experiences, but the Vixen's experience was that she was an angry black person. Then that's how she was perceived on the show. Yet, she has been very underspoken about this whole Drag Race thing. Overspoken in the fact that, yes, she is going to be the one to talk about it, and yes, she has talked about it, but now we haven't really heard that much about it. I remember when there was a spike in the Vixen controversy because the Vixen has been so adamant in, this is what happened to me, I hope it doesn't happen to anybody else. But then there was this entire rumor recently where she was going to be a lip-sync assassin on All Stars. But see, people like the Vixen and Jeremy and Willem, well, I don't really know about Willem, but Willem, let's just go with that. And heck, I'd even say Sherry Pie, because, you know, she's not going to be back on anything because of what she did. All are not a part of World of Wonder anymore because of stuff that they have done that has spited the show. Now, Willem is a whole different story. I don't know if Willem is going to be brought back at all. She was supposed to be brought back for All Stars 1, but who knows. But she has been very, very, very adamant about the fact that, yeah, shit happened on season 4 that she wasn't proud of. Or wasn't happy with, not proud of. She was proud, but she wasn't happy with how they treated the queens on season 4. So, moving forward, the Vixen had defended Tamisha for going against the system. Monet called her out on it, jokingly, I guess. And so she went on live after Bob the Drag Queen asked her to join a live with another person to talk about why she did what she did. There was an entire discussion about African American culture in the drag community, about the town halls that both the Vixen and Bob and Peppermint hosted. One was in Chicago, one was in New York, I believe, and they were really big fundraisers. So that's all we hear about it until May 14th, when other stuff happens. Monet is basically talking shit about Chicago, and then the Vixen comes in, talks shit about New York, and they kind of talk shit about each other for the majority of it. They say really, really bad words that, I mean, as a white person, it's definitely not okay for me to say. And I even, I don't fault any African American people for using it, but for me, I just go, I don't like that word. Mostly because it does bring out the white guilt in me because of the fact that they had to go through what they had to go through to get where they are today, and I hate when people use any derogatory terms against anybody. Because I understand what people have to go through, and I understand that bringing back the past is not okay. Anyway, this one doesn't even get resolved, and it's still kind of ongoing. Here's the thing. While I'm not picking sides, I do have to say this. Monet has been in more controversies this year than she has in her entire Drag Race run. And the Vixen, though I support her stance on racism, I cannot support her, that much because of what she said about Sahara Davenport. Let's get into that real fast, shall we? So, Manila and the Vixen got into a little scuffle, and she basically used Sahara's death as bait for Manila. Keep in mind, she had blocked Manila at this point, and just off the cuff said that, receiving backlash, to which I guess she apologized, but Manila couldn't see it. And while I understand that she was angry, bringing up somebody who has passed away as fodder for somebody to give in to what you want is sick and disgusting, and I don't like it. The Vixen has really been all over the place with emotions of the fans. Either you really love her and you understand what she's for and you really just watch Drag Race, but at the same time you don't like Drag Race because you know what's going on there, or you absolutely hate her and love Drag Race because of the fact that she was one of the main villains on there. But here's the thing. I'm in that middle ground where, while I understand where the Vixen is coming from, and I see Drag Race in a different light because of it, I also can't condone every single action that she has done because some of those actions have been very, very disgusting and very, very awful. So, support the Vixen if you want to support the Vixen. But what we ain't going to do is we ain't going to go over to her page and we're not going to bully her because A, the Vixen ain't got time for that shit. B, you know she's going to read you down if you try it. And C, we as a community need to do better with fandoms. Which is an entirely different discussion that I kind of want to get into briefly. The fact that Candy Muse can't get a solo booking on a tour, but yet Gottmik and Rosé can. Look, we know what Candy Muse did, but then everything twisted to, I'm sorry Candy Muse, fuck Tamisha Amman. Why does it have to be both? I understand that Tamisha going against the system is the gag of the century. Not century. Season 13. Gag of season 13. And I understand why people would hate Tamisha Amman for doing that. But at the same time, we loved her. We loved her personality, so why don't we take that and still give it to her, but also go, hey, yo, whatever. You do you, I'm gonna keep on watching it because this is what I want to do. And as for Candy, yes, we should apologize for the way we treated her after Tamisha left the show, but at the same time, we don't need to be kiss asses to her. As Candy has said, she can take care of herself. So, we don't need to fight her battles for her. Honestly, even though there's never really going to be peace in any of this, just know that not getting involved is the best thing to do. Like I said with Tina Burner and Joey J, especially if you are Caucasian, you don't understand anything of what... I don't even understand any of what these queens have gone through in their lives. So the best thing for especially Caucasian people to do is not get involved. I don't know what to tell the African American audience that watches me because as I'm not African American, I can't really speak for that. Do what you think is necessary, and maybe try to shed some light on the topic for people who are not woke about the subject. I don't really know what term to use there, so I'll just say woke. About the subject of racism in the drag race community. Educate and inform. Don't tear down and belittle people. So that was that, but now let's go on to All Stars. When is it going to come out? I am waiting for the promo to come out so that way we can see who's going to be on there and we can get to the meat of it. So, I'm sure by now either you have looked on the Drag Race wiki to see who has been cast. You're still going to be covering your ears because you don't know the cast yet, or you've been new because you've watched spoiler videos like I have. So, if you don't want to watch this section, get on out of here. I don't want you to be offended. So go, that I spoiled something. So go watch the All Stars 1 thing. The side note, why would you do the best of All Stars 1 when we have been asking for the best of Chi Chi DeVayne, Bianca Del Rio, and everybody in between? But yet, yes, let's do the fucking In the Rain photo shoot from All Stars 1. The least watched All Stars season. Okay, whatevs. Anyway, so All Stars 6 is coming out. God knows when. The promo is sunset. Oh, and by the way, spoiler alert in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clicked off the video. Okay. The cast is made up of 13 queens. Akira Chanel Davenport, Season 11. Silky Nutmeg Ganache, Season 11. Scarlet Envy, Season 11. Raja O'Hara, Season 11. Jan, Season 12, Eureka, Seasons 9 and 10, Pandora Box and Sonique from Season 2, Jada Sofia from Season 3, Jiggly Caliente from Season 4, Trinity K. Bonet from Season 6, Ginger Minch from All Stars 2 and Season 7, and Serena Cha-Cha from Season 5. Also Pandora and Jada from All Stars 1. They were also on that, briefly. So, what's the order of elimination this time? So, unsurprisingly, Serena Cha-Cha goes first. I think that that's pretty unsurprising considering the fact that her run on Drag Race has been less than elegant. So, props to her for getting on All Stars, but whatever. Honestly, I'm more excited about who wins Jada Sofia. Jada Sofia wins the talent show, and while I don't want to reveal who wins each lip sync, I will say that, or who the lip sync assassin is, because honestly, I don't know that. Jada does end up winning the challenge altogether. Do not leave spoilers in the comments, please. Thank you. Next up, the person who goes home is Akira Chanel Davenport, with Raja winning the main challenge. I'm surprised too. I'm surprised that Akira goes home this early. That being said, I'm sort of glad because we now have a bunch of people who are going to get a really big chance here to get to the crown. Next is Trinity K. Bonet winning the main challenge and Silky going home. Now, here's the thing. I kind of expected this, mostly because Silky is not All-Stars material yet. I think that if it was in a 10-person thing, she would have gone home first. It's her personality combined with the fact that she just isn't good at what she thinks she's good at. So, for instance, the ball challenges. The ball is going to be the second episode. The third episode is a hosting challenge. Silky's personality is probably going to get in the way of that, so who knows. The ball challenge, I kind of get where Akira going home comes from, though if it's flip-flopped, and the hosting challenge is actually the second challenge and then the ball challenge, I can see more that Silky goes home there instead of the other. Next up, the lip sync challenge, the sing challenge. Of course, Jan wins this one, and the person who goes home is Jala Sofia. It's a gagger, yeah, but at the same time, she was speculated to go home first. Or second, rather. So, whatevs. I'm still glad that Jala gets kind of a second chance, but at the same time, it's not really that big of a second chance. Next up is an acting challenge with Ginger Minj winning and Jiggly Caliente going home. I understand where this is coming. I understand where they come from with this. That being said, I'm glad that Jiggly remains in the competition for 5 episodes. 5 episodes. That's huge. That's so good for her. Speaking of huge, the next winner is Sonique, and she sends home Scarlet Envy. Because, okay, whatevs. It's the girl group challenge, and I guess Scarlet would have the worst choreography and singing. Who knows? Next up is Snatch Game. Ginger Minj wins, and they send home Jan. Jan goes home next. It's not really that big of a gag because Jan probably deserves to go home, but with queens like Eureka still being in the competition, as well as Sonique and Raja, people will probably start getting curious as to why they're still in the competition. The next one is sort of a who knows challenge. It may be a makeover challenge, who knows, but Pandora does go home and Raja wins. And Sonique wins, because Sonique sends home her sister, Pandora. Raja wins the next episode and sends home Eureka, while the top 4 look at who is lip-syncing for their lives. All of the other queens. The top 4 are Trinity K. Bonet, Raja, Ginger Minj, and Sonique. They watch the lip-syncs, and Eureka comes back. After Silky dominates the competition and should have gone back, she doesn't. Eureka ends up winning the acting challenge and sends home Trinity, and this is kind of sad because Trinity is one of the best competitors thus far. But we don't have to look that far because Eureka goes home, meaning that Ginger, Raja, and Sonique are the top 3. Now, personally, I'm rooting for Team Ginger, mostly because of the fact that I thought that she should have won Season 7. Didn't think she should have won All-Stars 2, but Season 7, absolutely. And I think that she should win this season. I'm also rooting for Sonique and Raja for different reasons. I think that Raja's story arc is going to be great, and I think that Sonique being the first ever transgender winner would be awesome. So, with all of that being said, Season 7 of All-Stars is definitely going to have a lot to live up to. I'm hoping that we get some Brown Flowers action in there. Mayhaps we could get some Thorgy Thor, Vivacious, people who we would love to see again who didn't really get to shine as much. Also, Serena needs to come back on All-Stars if she goes home first, because we need to do her some more justice. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.